right, welcome everybody. Very happy you're joining us today. Very excited about today's show. We have an amazing topic and amazing guest. First, I have to let you know that the topic of today is regenerating vision, and the topic we're going to talk about are cataracts. Okay, so this is a very important topic. There are millions of people around the world experiencing problems with cataracts. And, we are led to believe there's only one solution for them. And my guest today is going to enlighten us that there are a number of options, and some of them very natural without necessarily doing invasive processes. So before we get into that, it's always important to let you know this show is all about education. So today we are bringing you experience, wisdom, knowledge, and medical expertise, but we do not make any claims that what you're going to be hearing and what we're going to be saying is going to diagnose, treat, or prevent any medical condition. We want to make that clear, but I think you will find that the information given in today's interview will be very valuable and will lead you to more information. We're going to give you a website where you can get, a guidebook, and we'll talk about that. And you're going to have access to have a personal um, session with our guest. And so, with that, I'd like to have you welcome Dr. Glen Swartwout. Dr. Glen has been helping people for almost 50 years. He's a board certified optometrist. He's also a natural medicine practitioner. He is also has experience in homeopathy, experience in herbology, experience in all kinds of treatment protocols. He's also offering a very unique voice analysis um, assessment capability, and we're going to talk about that. So with that, I'd like to have you join me in welcoming Dr. Glen Swartwout. Dr. Glen, welcome to the show again. Very excited to have you here.
Always great to be here. Thank you, Michael.
So, in the past, we've talked about a number of conditions of the eye. We've talked about macular degeneration. We've talked about glaucoma. And today we're going to talk about cataracts. So first, could you enlighten us, Dr. Glen, about what exactly are cataracts? How do they form? And then what can be done about them?
Absolutely. So there are different causes, different types, different forms, different locations of cataract. They're all related to the lens of the eye called the crystalline lens, and that's living tissue. It's cells that form that from even before we're born or at the center of it. And every year we make a new layer on the outside. And those cells are unlike other cells in our body that turn over. We have brand new skin cells in 30 days, brand new red blood cells in about 100 days. Pretty much most of our cells are replaced periodically. These have to stay alive and healthy forever, as long as we want to have clear vision. And the oldest of them don't even have a nucleus anymore. They don't have a lot of metabolism. In fact, they're the lowest metabolism cells anywhere in the body. They're the furthest from circulation, so they're most dependent on the regional circulation, the circulation to the eye, for their nutrition and for detoxification. And those are both important. So again, the lens, you could have a lack of clarity at any point, any part of the lens, even on the back surface of the lens, outside the lens proper. We have posterior subcapsular cataracts where there's deposits beneath the capsule that holds the lens. That's the capsule. When they take the lens out for cataract surgery, they still leave the capsule there, and sometimes that clouds over, and they have to do what they call secondary cataract surgery, usually with a laser to break that, and it moves out of the way. So there's different causes to these. With that posterior subcapsular deposit, um, it happens to generally pretty young people, maybe in their 40s. Is pretty is It's not common, but that's most commonly where that type of thing happens, and that can be triggered by problems in the immune system, the endocrine system, the adrenals, like steroid treatments could cause that. Um, and so it's a whole different cause, and we've developed different remedies for that. You know, I take a very different approach than most formulators out there are formulating for a commercial company that says, "Hey, we want an eye supplement. Can you make us an eye supplement?" Sure, there's certainly things that are known to be good for the eyes. And so if it's going to be good for the lens and the retina, and those are completely opposite kinds of tissues. The retina needs the most circulation of any tissue because it has the highest metabolism, again, opposite to the lens being the lowest metabolism. It- so they're sensitive to different stresses, they need different things. The lens is very sensitive to, for example, heavy metals. Well, every part of the body is, but it's because it's so dense, it's the densest protein in the body. Uh, Compare it, say, to uh, your cartilage in your joints. Both are avascular, meaning they have no direct circulation. There's no blood vessels in the lens or in the cartilage of the joints. So again, they're dependent on movement and flow of fluids from the regional circulation that's a distance away. But because the lens is the densest protein in the body, it's functionally, physiologically furthest from that circulation. So when heavy metals get in there, they'll bind to the tissue, and it's the hardest place to get them out. There was a study in Sweden on mercury from dental amalgams, which is a very common trigger of any kind of health condition throughout the body, including cataract. And what they found was that mercury from the dental fillings got into the lens of the eye, and it stayed there longer than it stays in any other tissue in the whole body. It,
Wow.
it found the thyroid has the highest level, so often thyroid problems, and that's of course maintaining our metabolism. And if metabolism is slow, a place where the metabolism is already slow, that's going to affect the development of cataracts in the eye too. So we look at the eye as kind of, if I can use the word fractal, which means
Yeah.
a fractal is a mathematical concept that where every part is related to every other part, like the universe. If we look inside an atom and we look out at the galaxies, we can see there's some relationship, there's similarities to the mathematics. It's all made of the same rules, right? The same stuff, same energies, same patterns of function. And that's true in the body. Well, the simplest way to say it is, hmm, do the living cells that still have a nucleus that are younger in the outer layers of the lens, do they have different genes than any other cell in the body? No. The ones at the center that have no nucleus anymore, well, that's like the red blood cells that also have no nucleus anymore. They're related. One is replaced every 100 days, and the other you need to keep healthy and clear for 100 years. So there's differences and similarities, throughout the process of understanding.
Yeah, well, this is a literally an eye opener for me. Oftentimes people think, oh, cataracts, it's just a matter of aging, and the lenses themselves get clouded over, or they get caked over, or they get scratched, or whatever, and it causes this. You're enlightening us to the fact that it is a result of something going on internally, not only in the cells within the lens, but it can be affected by buildup of heavy metals and toxins. It could be built up from proteins, all kinds of things that are uh, stored in the body and in the cells that if they're stored too much and your body's not getting rid of them, this starts to create problems. We had talked about this in our conversations about glaucoma and macular degeneration, that there can be buildup of certain things. If the body is not operating in its cleansing and detoxifying properly, these types of things can happen and affect the eyes. So what does laser surgery do, and what doesn't it do that our viewers should be aware of?
Well, the laser surgery I'm talking about mentioned is after cataract surgery where they've already removed the lens and there's this capsule that holds the lens when the lens is there. It's what changes the shape of the lens when we're younger and we're able to focus and change the focus of the eyes. There's a muscle called the ciliary muscle that's a ring around around the outside around the eye, around the lens of the eye. When that muscle contracts, it relaxes the tension of that capsule so the lens can take up a more spherical natural shape to focus near. It's kind of counterintuitive, when you're studying optometry, you have to wrap your head around that. Oh, the muscle contracts to relax the capsule so the lens can take up its natural, more spherical shape to focus near. So we're making effort to focus near. It's a stress on the eyes to, like we talk about close work, people doing a lot of close work become myopic because they're stressing the system by contracting that muscle if they're having a hard time with it. And that's maybe stretching the connective tissue that holds the eye in its shape so the eye can get longer and myopic, or there's a couple different ways. It could be that that muscle kind of goes into, in a sense, holding in that tightened condition. Now it's a smooth muscle like the muscles of digestion, so we normally don't think that those muscles can be in a spasm. They seem to be able to hold tension for long term, but that's not necessarily the case when it comes to accommodation or focus of the eyes. But that's getting away from cataract a little bit. But it's all it's all interconnected because those stresses around the eye reduce circulation, and that's why this muscle can get strained when we're young and cause myopia. When there's less circulation as we get older, there tends to be less circulation. We tend to lose about 40% of our circulation overall in the body, including the eye, with I'm sorry, 30% with 40 years of aging is that's the average typical statistic. But what causes that? We can't say that aging causes cataract or aging causes the reduced circulation that could contribute to it, because aging, that's time. Time is like it's a dimension. We can't say that space causes it, right? Well, I guess if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you have a traumatic cataract could be caused by a car accident. But it's not the time, it's not the the time of day that caused it. It's a particular impact. And the same is true with aging. The two main impacts on our cells with aging are number one, oxidation. You've probably heard of antioxidants. That's why those are important. They're important for the lens, glutathione and N-acetyl cysteine, N-acetyl carnosine is used in eye drops, including the ones that we make, that have been shown to help prevent and maybe even reverse early cataract and a bit of the changes in cataract. Um, so these are antioxidants that help protect against the loss of electrons. Electrons are energy, electrical energy of the body electric. It's our cells have a incredibly powerful electrical field at the cell membrane, and that's a lot of what powers the enzymes and the functions of the cell. Uh, the eye, when it's forming in utero as an embryo, it has the highest electrical charge of any part of the body, and that's where the eye forms. They're doing research now with regenerative ability of tissue, and to make an eye form, they have to give it a high electrical potential. Well, right now, as each of us sits here looking at the screen, it's the retina of the eye. The eyeball has the highest electrical field of any part of the body. I think of it as the photovoltaic panels. It's photo, light, voltaic, sending electrical energy. The two eyes send two-thirds of all the electrical energy we call nerve current to the brain. It's what charges up the brain. When we open our eyes in the morning, the temperature in the brain goes up a few degrees because it has so much more juice, so much more energy and information coming in. It's not just the information of what we see, it's the electrical energy literally that's charging up the brain is one pole of the, if we look at the whole body as a battery and what tissues have hold an electrical charge, it's the brain at one pole of the Energizer bunny battery or not, if it's not charged, and the liver is the other end. And in Oriental medicine, we know that the liver meridian goes directly to the eye, right up the optic nerve. So again, we're this is contextual to what is the lens isn't going to get sick on its own. It's not going to age on its own. It's not going to get healthy or prevent or reverse cataract to the degree it can be reversed. And we see about 50% of people clinically are able to get some improvement in their vision, even though they have cataracts forming. And it takes a few months, 3 to 6 months, with support, with remedies that you'll be learning about, as you get the book and then as we talk and uh, look at our videos and courses and other books, etc., help you understand how to approach that most efficiently.
Yeah, let's talk about that in a little more detail. So, you are a big believer in number one, proper education. Education is important. Then assessment is important, right? Because we're all at different stages. We're all unique in many ways, our bodies and the way our body is functioning based on the way we live and what we put in it and what's around us. So there's education, there's assessment, there's consultation where you have a chance to actually talk with the person, review their medical history, review what they're experiencing. And then there's actually the creation of a custom package for them. So
Yeah,
let me hit each of those. First of all, you set up a special website, regeneratevision.com. And if people go to regeneratevision.com, they're going to be able to, first of all, get an incredible guidebook that you could pay $30, $40 for, but you're offering that guidebook to them for free. And if they join your email list, and then they will get, in addition to that guidebook, the opportunity to sign up for a discounted voice analysis. Now, I'm going to ask you, can you talk about what a voice analysis is? What information do you get from that, and how do you use that to help a person with their visual challenge?
absolutely. I'm gonna take you back about 40 years to start because that's where the science of this comes from.
Wow.
Back in the mid 1980s, I learned how to measure the body's electrical field, electrical energies at the acupuncture meridians. At the same time, there was an Australian acupuncturist who was learning the same techniques that come from Germany. That originally, it's based on Oriental medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, the acupuncture
Mhm.
points. But what the German uh, innovation was to say, in the very German way, oh, we have to be able to measure it. We have to measure and before and after our acupuncture treatment so that we know, did we treat a point that was out of balance and now it is in balance? And so they did that. And but then it was a surprise to the doctor who developed that technique. He was teaching other doctors how to use this new technique with medical acupuncture. And he had a volunteer. They tested him. They tested this other doctor, and they found an abnormal reading on his foot. It's a point that's a fractal relationship, a holographic relationship, a electronic relationship that shows you what's happening with the energy of the prostate. It's on the next near the baby toe. It's like, oh, oh. And it was time for a break. They took a lunch break. When they came back, again in German scientific style, sat him down and retested the point. He had told him, don't do any treatment during the break. We want everybody to be able to observe. And tested it, but the point was now in balance. He had never seen this before without doing acupuncture, so he yelled a little bit at the participants and said, I told you don't do any treatment. Want everybody to see it. So I didn't. We went across this. What did you do? I went across the street. I got a sandwich. It was cold. It was, it was late. It was like wintertime, like now. And he had his coat on still from being outdoors. And as they got warmed up, they took the coat off, they tested again, and now the imbalance was back. It's like, never seen that before, without no change, without doing an acupuncture treatment. And now it's back showing the imbalance. So is this a magic coat? Is this Joseph's magic Technicolor dream coat, maybe? Well, puts the coat back on and it's the coat. Well, it said, oh, well, I didn't mention it because I didn't crack the seal, but I did stop at the homeopathic pharmacy on my way in to the clinic here where you're teaching and picked up a vial of a homeopathic that I took a course in homeopathy last month and they took my case and they said, you need this homeopathic for your prostate. And I said, I better get that. Had not taken it orally. It was sealed vial in his coat pocket, but it's in his body field. We can measure the heart's field about 20 feet away from the body. Uh, it's so the body has this energy field that's part of its communication system. It's not a conscious thing for most people, but it's functioning and it's running the unconscious systems, the subconscious systems that have a lot to do with things like circulation, immunity, autonomic nervous system function, healing. Uh, so yeah, sure enough, it's what they found with further research is if you take a medicine and bring it within the body's field, within about a centimeter, and that's how far out from the body you can visualize that field on Kirlian photography, where you send electrical energy through a film and you see, oh, the shape and the characteristics of the field tell you if there's toxicity. And it's the same patterns, same locations of patterns around the fingertips of where the meridians come out that we measure with the electroacupuncture testing. So, so the Australian uh, acupuncturist, who was the one who started their first academic training program in acupuncture to train at a university level, he had studied in England. Well, he was back in England, and he helped a young man who was bedridden with chronic fatigue, like very severe, had been a rock climber and all kinds of active things, but now he can't move. Gets him healed, and this young man has the technical acuity, technical skills to put together the 30 years of observations and data that the acupuncturist had put together into a system to measure the body's field. And they had a device at first where you could put your hand on it and it would sense the electromagnetic field of the body and give us a reading of all these things that we'd have to have a person in person take an hour to measure dozens of points around the fingers and toes primarily, or around the eye for the eye area. And now we could do it through the internet. We could do remotely with patients. And then years later, a few years ago, with their own research, they correlated it with frequencies in the voice. So now they can take a 10-second voice sample, look at what frequencies are stressed, what frequencies are missing, that on a fractal level, on a holographic level, those frequencies are related to the electronic frequencies that we measure electronically. In fact, in the body, many people, I think, even in medicine and science, don't realize, but one of the very interesting facts that I came across is that collagen, which is the fiber optic system of the body, it's not only the connective tissue, but a fiber optic light communication system. It's piezoelectric. You may have heard that term in relation to quartz. How quartz watches work is they're piezoelectric, which means if they receive an electrical change, they change shape. And if something changes their shape, like sound waves, they put out an electrical signal. And so that's how they oscillate the quartz in a quartz watch to keep time. So your body is translating constantly between sound and electricity and sound, both ways. It's piezoelectric. That's not the only
When so,
thing, but yeah. I mean, every cell is connected to collagen at the
Yep.
cell membrane, at rafts in the cell membrane. That connects it to every other cell, and every organ is surrounded by connective tissue, primarily collagen. And the skin, underneath the skin, there's a whole layer of fascia of collagen that makes an insulating layer. And the acupuncture points are actually the points where circulation, where blood vessels come up through that insulation and form an electrical connection to the deeper electrical channels of the body, which is where every cell lives. So through this biocommunication method, we can take a 10-second voice sample on your phone or on your computer, linked to the internet, and you'll have an immediate analysis. We'll get immediately a copy of the analysis, about 14 pages. You can click on everything that it's showing and read more about it. So it's very interactive. It's very informative. It goes into everything from which organ tissues are showing stress, to which electrical meridians or circuits that go through those organs and are powered by those organs, which ones of those are stressed and how much, which body systems are stressed, what kinds of specific terrains that are susceptibility, the biophysics of the body determines its susceptibility to things like, say, a virus. A virus, if you want to grow a virus in the body, it's the same as if you want to grow a virus in the lab. You need what we call attenuated cells. The cells have to have low energy because when a cell has normal energy, enough to rejuvenate or regenerate or cleanse or balance itself, that energy field includes layers of structured water. That's not H2O, it's honeycomb shaped, just like the shape of water in ice, but with less space between the layers. Ice expands when it freezes, but first it forms this structured honeycomb shaped water. Uh, I like to call it living water. That's a term that goes back a long way. It's scriptural. This living water is also a battery. It's an energy storage. And it's also cleansing because it prevents viruses or anything else that doesn't belong in the cell is has no way to penetrate these millions of layers of structured water. But a low energy cell, an attenuated cell, a cell that's prone to degenerative disease, aging, uh, cancer, uh, low energy viral conditions. A virus has no moving parts, no way to swim upstream against that energy field. But if the field's not there, it's actually attracted to the low energy cell. And its function is to attach to the cell membrane then in that low energy cell, put in the RNA or DNA, gets into the cell mechanism and reproduces and makes a whole bunch of copies. Now we are trained to think of that as an infection and as an attack on the cell, but there's a whole other way of looking at it that's actually functional that says heavy metals are also attracted inside into the DNA of that low energy cell and they accumulate in there, like in the lens of the eye. How are they going to come out? Well, if they're attached to the DNA, the way to get them out is to replicate a little bit of DNA, make copies, and send out the toxic DNA that we call the virus. Uh, it's we try to look at rather than focusing on the disease, like say cataract, it's just a word. It means different things in different people. It means that there's some blockage of the light capacity of the lens to make an image. You know that the each lens cell is less clear than the whole lens. If you see
Hmm.
one cell, optically it's got DNA, it's got these things that are make it not so clear, but the way that they're organized in the lens, the group works better than the single one to be a clear image in the eye.
Okay.
But
So
to maintain that clarity, it
yeah.
has to have enough energy to pump water out of the lens. It's a dehydrated tissue. It needs energy function to be able to do that.
Okay. So if people go to regeneratevision.com and they go and they get the guidebook and they sign up for the voice analysis, you're saying that they will be able to record 10 seconds of their voice reading something or saying
Just
something,
counting from 1 to 10. It couldn't be
counting
simple.
from 1 to 10. Okay.
Yep.
So if they count from 1 to 10, that's recorded, that's sent to you. You have the capability of analyzing, creating a report about what's going on in their body, and especially what's going on with their eyes. And then they are able to have a one-on-one consultation with you. So they could sign up for that. And instead of coming into your office, they could do that via the internet as well.
Yep.
And then you're saying, based on that, the information from the assessment, they're going to be answering a questionnaire and sending their
Mhm.
medical information to you. You're going to do the voice analysis. You're then able to sit down with them and create a custom package
Mhm.
of treatments that will be able to give their body what it needs in order to start reversing those challenges they're having, and then also help them build up a healthy, functioning body. Is that correct?
Except these are not medical treatments. They're
No.
natural therapies.
Yep.
They're yeah, not they're herbal, nutritional, energetic, and informational. So what does that even mean? Information medicine? Well, the this company that makes the test available to us, they also make drops that you can put in water, and we'll be able to tell you if, hey, this one here that's showing up with a high score on your test, that makes a lot of sense based on your history, your symptoms, what's going on, what we know about your cataracts. Uh, that one will be very useful for you to activate the healthy DNA in that particular part of the body, kidneys or stomach, or some area that's, we'll tell you, this is how that's related to your cataracts, to your eyes, to your other health conditions. Uh, the stomach, for example, the stomach meridian goes right through the lens to the macula at the back of the eye, and it's the typical stress that's found in that meridian is heavy metals. We might see a stress in the stomach organ. You might say, "Yeah, I have GERD or I have, digestive problems." And and the stomach meridian might show up as a stress and say, "Well, that connects your stomach to right to the eye." And we might see a stress on the system that deals with heavy metals and like, "Wow, this is a strong pattern. You've got, you know, checked. It might just be one of those." It might not be any of those, even though you might have some history that relates to that. And we might look at the pattern and say, I suspect this is there, but it's under the surface, not something your body is actively trying to heal right now. Here's what it's trying to heal right now. And it's like archaeology. Would help you take off that top layer of accumulation. And then the body's strong enough to dig in and say, now we can move those heavy metals. Oh, now it's showing up. So it's a dynamic process of healing that's step by step, and you can we I recommend you do the 10-second voice scan once a month for our purposes. But if you have a change in symptoms, do it more. They have it where it's accurate even if you do it every day now. So if there's a change in symptoms, do that. And if you're seeing other especially holistic or functional health practitioners, an acupuncturist, a naturopath, a massage therapist, uh, do a scan right before you go in for your session with them. You'll have it available on your cell phone. You can show them the results. And the last one I heard about was a massage therapist. One of our clients was going to weekly and getting really great help, hands-on healing. And I totally support that with the local healers in your area. There's a difference between the licensed doctors who do the drugs and surgery, and the healers who may have a license, they may be a healer of some other of hands-on healing. A massage therapist is licensed, but they might be doing Reiki and not have a license. That's okay. Who's helping you with energy healing and nutritional healing? And actually, in my book, being a real doctor, because you know what? The word doctor comes from Latin docere, which means to teach. So if they're teaching you how to be healthy, how to heal yourself, because all healing, true healing is self-healing. I can't heal you. Well, I mean, I can intend to. I can think of you. I can project energy even from a distance, and even when we do remote testing, sometimes people experience healing in the process. But it's still you. It's your body, mind, and spirit that are receiving that information, that signal, that energy, that material substance that's intended to heal, and doing the actual healing. So it's all self-healing, and really what we can do is speed up the self-healing. By our measures, uh, we can speed up the self-healing to where it's about 13 times faster than the degeneration and aging that's been going on, which means in 1 month of this would be a full program, which we can talk about. And you may have a need for that. You may have a budget for that. Not everyone does. So we can start at a level that's not going to break, hopefully, anyone's budget. Because that's my mission as a healer, aside from being a doctor, teacher, I want to be able to help. So we'll find, okay, one of the questions in the our application is what's your budget range? This is an optional question. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to answer it. But if I don't have that information, if we do have a consultation, we'll need to get into that and see, well, can you afford this or that healing tool that you can use every day in your home? There's a tool that we recommend. If you can do it, you can use it, that uses electromagnetic fields to reverse the loss of circulation by the equivalent of 40 years. Now, 40 years, at age 80, almost every American either has cataracts, about 80% of them are suffering from some stage of cataract formation, or the other 20%, almost all of them have already had cataract surgery. But at age 40, 40 years before that, about the only people who have cataracts have had traumatic cataract, or congenital. They were born with some kind of cataract, probably from toxicity in the womb, because heavy metals will cross the placenta and concentrate 24 times higher in the fetal tissues. Or they have a posterior subcapsular cataract because they took some steroids, even topical steroids on the skin to treat some other medical condition. It's a side effect. Side effects are direct damage, direct toxic effects. We call them it's just a side effect. We can treat that with another poison that changes those symptoms to another symptom that's usually from a deeper tissue layer, deeper source inside the body. We look at how the body forms in layers, embryological layers. The lens of the eye comes from the skin layer. Isn't that weird? It's inside the body, yet it comes from what was originally cells on the surface of your body when it's little. Versus the cornea in front of it, that's on the surface, but it comes from the nervous system, which is tissue that started on the skin and went inside, and now it's on the cornea, it's come back outside. So it's fascinating. Um, I have yet to be bored trying to understand eyes and vision and why
Yeah.
they go blind. I found out I was going to go blind when I was 25 years old, my last year studying to be an eye doctor in New York, and I would be blind in my 40s if I just did the standard conventional treatment. And the professor knew I was their top student. He said, I recommend you do the research to find out why. What's the underlying cause? And treat that, eliminate that. Because otherwise, we can slow these things down, but with drugs and surgery to some degree, but not completely.
Well, you may be board certified, but you certainly aren't boring. I learn so much from you every time we have a conversation, and I know that our viewers are going to get a tremendous amount of information and knowledge and help from you. And you certainly have helped many, many thousands of people, not only treating them and helping them reverse the challenges they've had, but also you've trained thousands of practitioners on how to help their patients. And for all of that, I certainly am grateful, as are the folks who benefited. Well, we're coming to the end of our time, but again, I wanted to stress for the folks that are out there, if you go to regeneratevision.com, and you sign up for the booklet, the guidebook, please, the greatest investment we can make is not in the stock market, it's not in cryptocurrency, it's not real estate. The greatest investment you can make is in your own health, right?
Mm.
So I encourage you and make the small investment in the voice analysis, make the small investment in having a one-to-one consultation with Dr. Glenn after he's had a chance to review your documentation, your, medical history, the results of the analysis. Make the small investment for the treatment protocols, the natural treatment protocols that might be, herbal, it might be homeopathic, it might be, all kinds of non-invasive, natural, drug-free treatments that can only do good. And you won't need 1,000 other things to take care of the counter, take care of the side effects, right? The only side effect you're going to have with natural medicine is you're going to get well faster. So I can deal with that. So with that, again, please go to regeneratevision.com if you want to learn more about Dr. Glenn. If you want to get the guidebook, get the voice analysis, get the consultation, get the treatment packages. Do it sooner than later, because sooner means you're going to create momentum and give your body a head start on tackling whatever challenge it is that you're facing that's creating the manifestation of cataract, or the manifestation of glaucoma, or the manifestation of macular degeneration, or whatever it is, right? There are underlying causes inside of us that create these things we call disease, or we call challenges. This is a way of going down deep and addressing the inherent causes, right, of what's going on, and giving the body what it needs to heal itself, giving the
Mhm.
body what it needs to get itself back to natural, healthy state. And that's what we want, right? That's what we want. So please, one more time, regeneratevision.com, go there. Dr. Glenn, as always, it's been fascinating, literally eye-opening. Um, and we are definitely going to talk again, because unfortunately, there are a lot of other eye challenges, vision challenges that people have. So we've only scratched the surface. So we definitely have to have you back. We'll talk about some of those other ones in our next discussions. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. And thank you, folks, for joining us today. Have yourself a great day. Have yourself a great year. Have yourself a great life. But I wish you most of all great health. But to have great health, we have to take steps. We have to learn. We have to ask for help. And we have to do the things that we need to do to help our body get back to the healthy state it was created for. So, with that, love you all. Look forward to seeing you again. Look forward to seeing you, Dr. Glenn, again. And take care.